This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Pastor would demand first paycheck, member claims. For over 8 years, congregants of Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries were hoodwinked into handing over the first paycheck that they received each year. Speaking to the news, one congregant who said he complied with this demand for years shared that if the money was not paid over by the end of January, congregants would be shamed by the leader of the flock, who called the offering first fruits. So in January, you bring in every single dollar that you make. Everybody should do that, and if not, he is angry and curses you and tells you you brought down debt on your family and your house. These are the tactics that he used, and we believed him because these things we have seen them happened repeatedly, said the man. The congregant noted that though this money was to be paid over to the leader in January, there would also be a watch and night service at the end of each year, dubbed Don't Carry It Over. He called it a Don't Carry It Over service, in which he tells you the amount you should give. So let's say 2019, he said bring in $219, $319, all the way up to 2019 US dollars, he told the news. These monies, the man said, were seen as payments for blessings by their prophet, as they all witnessed firsthand the miracles he had performed. We have seen where people come dumb and blind, and they see, hear, and talk before they leave, and the people walk just the same way. I don't know. Maybe him used to plan it up behind our backs with the people them, but we believe him for so long, he said. The start of the novel coronavirus pandemic in Jamaica also brought along more requests for monies from the leader, as congregants were encouraged to attain loans from local financial institutions, the man told the news. He told us to get loans last year. A few of us, he said, that we are his sons and that we are the ministers in training, so when we have different branches, we would be leaders of the churches. But none of us got any loan, and he was angry. He said that we are disobedient. I didn't get a loan because at that time I wasn't employed by a company. I was self-employed, he said. Then came the request for them all to leave their jobs. He told us to stop everything that we're doing, and everybody stopped. People left their work. A lot of people also lost their jobs because the hotels were closed, so people started to suffer after a while, he told the news. After struggling with unemployment for some months, the young man shared he was unable to score an online job with an international company to sustain the needs of his family. I got a job and I started working from home. The first 2 weeks' pay was about $30,000, and when I got paid, I called the pastor and told him, "My father, this is the first pay I got, and I know you always speak about the first fruit, so would this be my first fruit?" He said to me, "Take care of your bills and later on you can think about first fruit," the man said. When he finally settled into the job and started to make some big money, he called the leader again, as he believed he was now fit to pay his first fruits. "I can remember when I made about $300,000 for 2 weeks, and I reached out to him because it was my first time making so much money. I was saying maybe it's the blessing from this man of God, because he said when he blesses you, you should remember where the blessing came from, and he would use a statement that goes, if you receive a cup of water in the name of a prophet, you will receive a prophet reward, because he said that he is the prophet of God," the congregant said. He continued, "So I brought $20,000 in offering. He wasn't pleased about it. He called up a few of us as males in the church and said that we should know that you don't give a prophet what you feel like giving him, because if you give him something that he isn't pleased with, then you won't receive a blessing. You should give him something that speaks to his spirit so that he can bless you more." Then the man revealed came the request for him to offer $100,000 each time he got paid. The next time I got paid about $400,000, I reached out to him by message and said, "I don't want to dishonor you," and I think he told me to call him. He said to me that for a man of his standard, the money that I am making is little bit, but the least he would take is $100,000 to show that I honor him, the man told the news. He said days will come when he will be able to give me up to $2 million. He would say that he does not need our money because he is already rich. He is a millionaire in foreign currencies. And we were like, that means that he no really want no money. Him just want blessed with it, he added. Months later, the man said he made the conscious decision to stop complying with the leader's request. This, he said, was met with resistance, and before he knew it, he was back in the old routine. He told me that because I am not following through, it means the devil will stand over me and take what he should get. So me believe him and me say, boy, let me just obey what him say and carry the 100,000 go give him again, he said. He would always use tactics like he is trying to scare us. Like him say, this is going to happen to you, and I see where people are coming to kill you. If you want to cancel this, your seed will speak for you, the man added while admitting that this tactic forced him to comply. Last Sunday, what congregants believed was a 3-day convention turned into a nightmare after 2 members of the religious organization were killed during a ritual. 3 others were injured. Another member was killed by the police after he allegedly attacked the security forces with a knife when they breached the building. Collision in St. Elizabeth leads to farmer's death. 21-year-old Romario Hansen, a farmer of Warminster District, Myersville, St. Elizabeth, died as a result of injuries sustained in a motor vehicle collision on Cheapside Main Road in the parish on Friday, October 8. Reports from the Junction Police are that about 7:10 p.m., Hansen was driving a motorcycle along the roadway when he attempted to overtake a line of traffic. He then collided with a Nissan AD wagon motor car heading in the opposite direction. The police were summoned and Hansen was transported to the hospital. He succumbed to his injuries on Saturday, October 23. Investigations continues. St. Thomas men charged after beating man unconscious. 2 men have been arrested and charged with wounding with intent and assault occasioning bodily harm after severely injuring a man they accused of being a thief. Charged are 39-year-old Lamar Beckford, otherwise called Ant-Man, a hospital attendant of license in the parish, and 24-year-old Dennis Taylor, otherwise called Garsha, a barber also of the same address. Reports are that on October 14, at about 8:20 p.m., Beckford and Taylor, along with several other men and women, accused the man of stealing $60,000 from their friend and demanded the return of the money. When their demand was not met, they used a machete and other instruments to beat the man all over his body until he was unconscious. The man received a wound to his forehead and a broken leg. The police were summoned and the man was taken to the hospital for treatment. Beckford and Taylor were later arrested and then formally charged on Saturday, October 23. Both men are scheduled to appear before the Morante Bay Parish Court on Wednesday, November 3. Sentencing of ex-cop convicted of killing entertainer delayed until November 12. O'Shane Thompson, the ex-policeman convicted last month of murdering upcoming St. Mary dancehall entertainer Insta Boss, will have to wait until November 12 to know his fate. He was charged a year after the fatal shooting of the entertainer, whose real name is Kristen Pearson, at a party in Trinity St. Mary in May of 2017. The sentencing for the former police constable began on Friday in the Home Circuit Court, with a social inquiry and antecedent reports being heard by presiding judge Justice Caroline Ty Powell. Thompson's attorney also spoke during the proceedings by making submissions that could assist the judge in arriving at an appropriate sentence for his client. Consequently, another sentencing date was set and the convict remanded. Pearson was a resident of Charlestown in St. Mary and the Exchange in Ochorea, St. Anne at the time of his death. During its probe, the Independent Commissions of Investigations said it was reported that the deceased and a former police officer had an altercation which resulted in the shooting incident. Thompson was a suspect in the incident and had been interviewed under caution by Indicom. Shortly after, according to Indicom, he resigned from the police force and left the island for the United States. Thompson was arrested by JCF officials on Thursday, August 30, 2018, upon his deportation to Jamaica. He was subsequently charged following a ruling by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. The judge-only trial began in July 2021 in the St. Mary Circuit Court and the verdict was handed down in the Home Circuit Court in Kingston on Friday, September 24. Student killed in Manchester crash. 19-year-old Kimani Clark, a student of 3 Miles River, Frome in Westmoreland, died of injuries he sustained in a motor vehicle accident along the Melrose Bypass in Williamsfield, Manchester on Saturday, October 23. Reports from the Mandeville police are that about 9:15 p.m., Clark was driving a motor car when he attempted to make a right turn. He allegedly lost the control of the vehicle, which overturned. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Investigations continue. Stop interdicting police officers at quarter pay, Dwight Moore says. The practice or policy of interdiction, which is paying police personnel a fraction of their pay when they are removed from frontline duty while an infraction against them is being investigated, should be discontinued, according to businessman Dwight Moore. The matter of policemen being suspended without pay or part pay is a gross injustice when they are not going to face legal fees. They are still going to have families to feed, mortgages to pay, and they are not going to be destitute, Moore argued while speaking with the news. Who's that policeman going to turn to now? He asked, before suggesting that police personnel who find themselves in such positions could be tempted to turn to the underworld. Isn't he going to turn to an Eredon to offer his services or for help because he's now destitute and abandoned by the state that he was serving, Moore said. He said care should be taken to ensure that families are not disrupted as a result of the breadwinner being placed on interdiction. What happens to that family structure? How does that policeman fend for himself? He continued. Moore also raised the possibility that in such situations, an interdicted cop could turn to the private security firm to earn a living and, ironically, end up being the security officer for a government official as a close protection officer. He argued that members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force should not be suspended for just public relations purposes. If we do that, then we're sending the wrong message to police officers, new and old. They are on the front line of our peace of mind, so we can't just discard them in that way. We can't do that, he insisted. Meanwhile, Moore is making the argument that some retired crime fighters to be re-engaged by the JCF to aid in the crime fight. We are talking about all hands on deck. We have to re-engage Assistant Commissioner of Police Garnet Daly as Senior Superintendent of Police Cornwall Biggerford. We need to ask ourselves, what do these men still have to contribute, Moore said. Some senior officers have in the past offered their services, but it is not generally known if they have been utilized and in what capacity. If Moore had his way, these men and women would be relied on for their knowledge. They know the inner city communities, they have built relationships in the space, so they are at an advantage. They are mentors, they are experienced, they are the so-called experts. They have the intellectual property, so you should not ignore them, said Moore. He noted that if the individuals were to go into private practice, they would likely earn significantly more than when they were in the constabulary. By keeping them engaged, they are actually keeping a valuable resource available to the nation. Because if it is that some crime family is to hire the services of some of our best experts, just imagine the kind of havoc they would create. This, Moore said, was a reality, as many ex-cops may not have secured enough of a pension, and as such, their service may be available to the highest bidder. You cannot retire a 60-year-old or a 65-year-old man for him to just now drive up and down or just sit down and play dominoes when he was an active crime fighter, he declared. In the meantime, Moore is also advocating for police officers who do not have private firearms to be allowed to take home their service weapons in light of the country's high crime environment. He argued that unless there are red flags that would prevent a serving member from having a firearm, he sees no reason as to why the member can be trusted to have a firearm while on duty but not while at home. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.